The massive Dolari exploration fleet drifted through the nebula's edge, their bioorganic vessels pulsing with gentle light. Commander Tech of the flagship Luminous Harmony adjusted his many-faceted eyes, focusing on the strange object that had appeared on their sensors. Unknown vessel at coordinates 557 to 882, reported Navigator June. No match in our database. The alien ship was unlike anything they had encountered before, angular and dark, with visible battle scars marring its hull. Despite being half the size of the Luminous Harmony, something about it projected an aura of danger. Initiate first contact protocols, ordered Tok. All weapons powered down. Send greeting transmissions on all frequencies. For several tense minutes, the alien vessel remained silent. Then their communications array chimed. Greetings, Dolari Fleet. This is Captain Kim of the HSS Dauntless. We represent humanity from the planet Earth. Commander Tok felt his inner membranes flutter with excitement. This was his first encounter with a completely unknown species in his 60 cycles of space exploration. The Dolari had met 12 other spacefaring races, but all had been cataloged in the Great Archive. This humanity was something new. Captain Kim of Earth, we welcome you to Dolari Space. I am Commander Tak of the Luminous Harmony. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations. The main view screen flickered, and the image of the alien captain appeared. The bridge crew of the Luminous Harmony collectively drew back. The human was unlike any intelligent species they had encountered. It stood upright on 2 limbs, with only 2 eyes set in a flat face. Its body was covered in some kind of artificial skin, blue and gray in color, with strange symbols on its chest. Thank you for your welcome, Commander Tak, said Captain Kim. We are on an exploration mission and did not expect to encounter intelligent life in this sector. This is a fortunate discovery for us. Science Officer Mi approached Commander Tak and whispered, their ship's design is primitive. I detect combustion metals and nuclear elements. No quantum drive signatures, yet they reached this sector. Commander Tak nodded slightly. This was indeed puzzling. The nebula was 30 light-years from the nearest habitable system. Without quantum drive technology, it should have been impossible for these humans to travel so far. Captain Kim, we would be honored if you would share information about your species and home world. Perhaps we could arrange a meeting between our crews. There was a pause before Captain Kim responded. We would be pleased to exchange cultural information, Commander. However, I must consult with my superiors regarding direct contact. Our protocols for new species are cautious. Navigator June leaned toward Commander Tak. Their vessel is scanning us extensively. Passive sensors only, but very thorough. Tak nodded. It was standard procedure for any new contact. The Dolari were doing the same. While you consult with your authorities, perhaps we could share basic information through communications. Tak suggested. The Dolari believe that understanding leads to friendship. An admirable philosophy, replied Captain Kim. We can certainly begin there. Over the next few hours, the 2 ships maintained position near each other while establishing basic communication protocols. The Dolari learned that humans came from a planet they called Earth, the 3rd world in a system with a yellow star. They had achieved faster-than-light travel only recently by their time scale, using something they called a fold drive that bent space in ways the Dolari scientists found fascinating but primitive. What puzzled Science Officer Me most was the structure of the human vessel itself. Commander, their ship makes no sense, she reported during a private briefing. It has multiple redundant systems, reinforced internal structures, and compartmentalization far beyond what's necessary for space travel. And those scars on the hull, they're from weapons fire. A warship. Tak's skin changed color slightly, indicating concern. Yes, but disguised as an exploration vessel. And those weapons. Mi's voice trailed off. What about them? They're deactivated now, but our scans show they're far more powerful than the rest of their technology would suggest. It's as if they focused all their development on offensive capabilities. Commander Tak considered this information carefully. The Dolari were not naive. They maintained defensive capabilities, but had never encountered a species that prioritized military technology over scientific advancement. It was concerning. Just then, Communications Officer Jin called for Tak's attention. "Commander, we're receiving a new transmission from the human ship. Captain Kim wishes to speak with you." When Captain Kim's image appeared again, Tak noticed subtle differences. The human's posture was more formal, and additional humans stood in the background of their bridge. "Commander Tak, I've received authorization from Earth Command. We would like to invite you and a small delegation to board the Dauntless for a face-to-face meeting. We believe direct interaction will foster better understanding between our peoples." Tak felt both excitement and caution. This was moving quickly by Dolari diplomatic standards. "We would be honored, Captain Kim. When would this meeting take place?" "At your convenience. We have prepared appropriate atmospheric conditions in our meeting room based on the data you shared." After the transmission ended, First Officer Bin approached Tak. "Commander, is this wise? We know very little about these humans." Tak's skin rippled with thoughtful patterns, "which is precisely why we must meet them. The Great Archive teaches us that fear of the unknown leads to conflict. Besides, I am curious about these humans and their strange vessel. The battle damage on their ship suggests they have enemies," Bin cautioned. "Or that they themselves are aggressive," added Science Officer Me. Commander Tak looked at the image of the human ship on the main viewer. It sat there, dark and angular against the colorful backdrop of the nebula, like a predator waiting in tall grass. "Prepare a delegation. Myself, Science Officer Me, Cultural Specialist Da, and 2 security officers. We will meet these humans and learn their true nature." As the Dolari shuttle departed from the luminous Harmony toward the waiting human vessel, Commander Tak couldn't help but wonder what kind of species developed weapons before deep space exploration technology. What kind of world produced beings that built ships to withstand battle damage as a primary design feature? He would soon find out, for better or worse. Commander Tak and his delegation followed the human security officer through narrow corridors that showed signs of repair and modification. Unlike the flowing, organic architecture of Dolari vessels, everything here was utilitarian and redundant. "Welcome aboard," said Captain Kim, a surprisingly small creature with minimal protective covering and no visible natural defenses. Tak extended his upper appendage in the traditional Dolari greeting posture. To his surprise, Captain Kim grasped it firmly in what she called a handshake, revealing surprising strength from her modest frame. "Your ship has seen many battles," observed Science Officer Sun. "This old girl, she's been through her share," Captain Kim replied casually. "Lost our port stabilizers in the Arcturus campaign. Engineering deck took a direct hit at Procyon. But humans adapt. We rebuild. We endure." The casual mention of surviving conflicts that would have destroyed entire Dolari fleets left the delegation speechless. Commander Tak's skin rippled with blue spots of surprise as he struggled to process Captain Kim's words. The Dolari were peaceful explorers who avoided combat whenever possible. Their vessels were designed to flee from danger, not endure it. "You speak of these battles so casually," Tak said finally. "Were many lives lost?" A shadow passed over Captain Kim's face. "Every battle costs lives, Commander. The Dauntless started with a crew of 412. We're down to 378 now." Cultural Specialist Day's voice trembled slightly. "And you continue your mission despite such losses?" "Of course," Kim replied, seeming genuinely confused by the question. "That's what humans do. We continue." The delegation was led into what the humans called a conference room. It was a simple space with a large central table and chairs designed to accommodate the Dolari physiology. The walls displayed various star charts and what appeared to be battle plans. Captain Kim gestured for them to sit. "I hope you find the chairs comfortable. Our xenobiologists did their best with the specifications you sent." As they settled around the table, other human officers joined them. Tak noticed they all carried small devices attached to their belts. Weapons, perhaps. "Allow me to introduce my senior staff," said Captain Kim. First Officer Lee, Chief Engineer Park, Science Officer Su, and Security Chief Dao. Tak introduced his own team, watching how the humans observed the Dolari with intense curiosity but little apparent fear. "We have prepared a presentation about Earth and human history," Captain Kim said. "But first, would you like a tour of our vessel? I find that seeing how another species lives tells you more than any formal briefing." "We would be honored," Tak replied, his inner membranes quivering with both excitement and apprehension. As they moved through the ship, the differences between their cultures became increasingly apparent. The Dauntless had none of the communal relaxation spaces that were central to Dolari vessels. Instead, it was packed with redundant systems, weapon stations, and what the humans called battle damage control centers. In one corridor, Engineer Park pointed out a section of wall that was clearly newer than the surrounding area. "Direct hit from a Regellian destroyer. Blew out 3 decks. Lost 17 crew that day. Yet you repaired it and continued your mission," asked Science Officer Me. "Of course," Park replied with a shrug. "What else would we do?" They passed what Captain Kim called the memorial wall, covered with small metal tags and images of humans. "Our fallen," Kim explained softly. "We carry them with us always." The engineering deck revealed technology that was both primitive and ingenious. The Dolari used clean quantum resonance drives, but the humans relied on a dangerous-looking reactor that Chief Engineer Park lovingly called the Beast. "She's temperamental," Park explained, patting the massive machine, "but she's never let us down, even when we pushed her to 120% during the retreat from Deneb." Security Chief Dao led them to what he called the armory, a room filled with various weapons. The Dolari had never seen such a diverse collection of tools designed specifically for combat. "Every crew member is trained in basic combat," Dal explained, "even our medical staff." "Is this necessary for exploration?" asked Cultural Specialist Da. Dal exchanged a look with Captain Kim before answering. "In our experience, yes." The medical bay was perhaps the most shocking. Dr. Jin, a calm-faced human with steady hands, showed them regeneration tanks and emergency surgical facilities that suggested frequent use. "Our medical technologies have advanced rapidly," Dr. Jin explained. "Necessity is a powerful motivator." When they reached the bridge, Tak was surprised by its compact efficiency. Unlike the spacious command centers of Dolari ships, every centimeter here served a purpose. Crew members worked at stations designed for quick access and communication. "Captain on the bridge," announced an officer, and everyone straightened slightly. "At ease," said Captain Kim. "Status report. All systems normal, Captain." "The Dolari fleet maintains position. No other vessels detected in the sector." Captain Kim nodded and turned to Tak. "This is where we make our decisions, Commander. Not as beautiful as your ship, I imagine, but functional." "It is. Impressive in its efficiency," Tak replied diplomatically. "Though I wonder, Captain Kim, why a species would design exploration vessels with such military capability." The bridge fell silent. Captain Kim considered the question carefully before answering. "Commander Tak, Earth's history is long and often violent. When we reached for the stars, we carried that history with us. Our first encounters with other species were not always peaceful. We learned quickly that the galaxy can be dangerous. Yet you continue to explore despite these dangers." "Especially because of these dangers," Kim replied with a small smile. "Humans are curious by nature. We want to see what's out there. But we're not naive." As they returned to the conference room, Science Officer Me whispered to Tak, "Their physiology should not allow such resilience. They appear fragile compared to most spacefaring species." "Perhaps strength takes many forms," Tak replied thoughtfully. Back in the conference room, refreshments had been prepared. The humans had synthesized appropriate food and drink for the Dolari based on their biochemistry. "A toast," suggested Captain Kim, raising a small cup, "to new friendships and the peaceful exploration of space." As Tak raised his cup, he noticed a large view screen displaying Earth, a blue and green world that looked surprisingly fragile. "Your home seems peaceful," Tak observed. Captain Kim's expression became complex. "It is now. It wasn't always. Perhaps that's why we built ships like the Dauntless, to ensure it remains peaceful." Tak considered these words carefully. The Dolari had never needed to fight for their homeworld. Their evolution had been gentle, their ascension to the stars marked by curiosity rather than necessity. "I believe we have much to learn from each other, Captain Kim," Tak said finally. "Though our paths to the stars were different, we now look at the same universe with wonder." Kim smiled, a genuine expression that softened her features. "That, Commander Tak, may be the most important similarity between our species." The warning came suddenly. A fleet of Nox raiders, infamous throughout 3 sectors, dropping out of faster-than-light travel and surrounding both ships. "Surrender your vessels and cargo," demanded the Nox commander, his grotesque visage filling the view screen. "Resistance is pointless against our superior technology." Commander Tak turned to Captain Kim. "We should retreat. The Nox possess quantum disruptors and neural scramblers. Our ships cannot." "Just watch," interrupted Captain Kim with an unsettling smile. She tapped her communication device. "All stations, battle positions. Let's show our new friends how humans fight." What followed defied explanation. The seemingly primitive human warship executed maneuvers that should have torn it apart. Multiple weapon systems activated simultaneously, targeting the Nox vessels with devastating precision. Human crew members continued operating efficiently despite injuries that would have incapacitated a Dolari. Within minutes, the Nox fleet scattered in retreat, leaving behind their disabled flagship. The Dolari delegation stood frozen on the bridge of the Dauntless. They had heard stories of the Nox raiders, feared pirates who preyed on ships across 3 sectors. The Nox had superior technology stolen from a dozen advanced civilizations. No one stood against them and survived. Yet here they were, watching the impossible unfold. "Damage report," Captain Kim called out, her voice steady despite the chaos of the past few minutes. "Minor hull breach on Deck 4, already sealed," reported First Officer Lee. "Weapons systems at 87% capacity. 3 crew members in medical with non-critical injuries." Commander Tak could barely process what he was seeing. The human ship had taken hits that would have shattered a Dolari vessel into pieces. Now these humans were calmly reporting minor damage as if they had expected worse. "The Nox flagship is disabled but intact," Captain, Security Chief Dal announced. "Life support systems still operational." Captain Kim nodded. "Prepare a boarding party. Standard capture protocols." "Boarding party." Tak found his voice at last. "You mean to enter their vessel?" "Of course," Kim replied. "Their ship contains valuable technology and information. Why waste the opportunity?" The view screen showed 5 of the 6 Nox ships retreating into faster-than-light jumps. The 6th, their flagship, drifted dead in space, its sleek black hull now scarred with precision hits that had disabled its engines and weapons without destroying the vessel completely. "Captain," Tak said carefully, "the Nox are known for their cruelty. Their ship will be heavily defended inside." Captain Kim's smile was small but confident. "So are we, Commander." On the tactical display, Tak watched as a small craft detached from the Dauntless and approached the Nox vessel. He could not believe what he was seeing. "Your shuttle has minimal shielding," Science Officer Me observed. "The radiation from the damaged Nox ship will." "Our boarding shuttles are radiation-hardened," interrupted Chief Engineer Park. "We learned that lesson the hard way at Procyon." The security chief's voice came over the communication system. "Boarding team has breached the Nox vessel. Encountering resistance. Proceeding to Central Command." Captain Kim gestured to a screen showing helmet camera feeds from the boarding party. The Dolari watched in astonishment as human soldiers moved through the alien ship with practiced efficiency. The Nox defenders were technically advanced, but the humans fought with a ferocity and coordination that overwhelmed them. "How can they withstand such combat?" whispered cultural specialist Da. "I saw one human continue fighting despite a serious injury to its limb." "Pain suppression training," explained Dr. Jin, who had joined them on the bridge. "All our combat personnel undergo neural conditioning. They can temporarily ignore pain when necessary." Commander Tak felt his skin darken with concern. Such abilities seem unnatural. "Necessity breeds adaptation," Captain Kim replied simply. On the screen, they watched as the boarding party reached the Nox command center. The Nox commander, the same grotesque figure who had demanded their surrender minutes ago, now backed away from the advancing humans. "Your ship is ours," announced the leader of the boarding party. "Surrender and you will be treated according to Galactic Convention guidelines." The Nox commander hissed something in his native language. Suddenly, he pulled out a small device and pressed it against his own chest. His body convulsed violently before collapsing. "Suicide protocol," Captain Kim said grimly. "Not unexpected. Secure any remaining crew and begin data extraction from their systems." "Yes, Captain," came the reply. "We have 12 Nox prisoners." The rest followed their commander's example. Commander Tak could not hide his horror. They chose death rather than capture. "The Nox have a strict code," Captain Kim explained. "Their leaders would rather die than face defeat. It's not uncommon in warrior cultures." "And you have encountered many warrior cultures?" asked Tak. "More than we would have liked," Kim admitted. "Space isn't always friendly, Commander." Over the next hour, the Dolari watched as the humans efficiently secured the Nox vessel, treated injured enemy combatants, and began extracting valuable data from the ship's systems. The coordination and discipline displayed by the human crew was unlike anything Tak had ever witnessed. "Your people fight with extraordinary skill," Tak observed carefully. "Yet you claim to be explorers." Captain Kim turned to face him directly. "We are explorers, Commander. But Earth learned long ago that exploration and defense are not separate endeavors. Every ship we send into the unknown must be able to protect itself." "Is this why your vessel appears so battle-worn?" "The Dauntless has served for 7 Earth years," Kim replied. "She's seen action in a dozen systems, not because we sought conflict, but because conflict found us." The boarding party returned with captured Nox technology and several prisoners. Tak was surprised by how humanely the prisoners were treated, given medical care and placed in secure but comfortable holding cells. "You show mercy to pirates who would have shown none to you," Tak noted. "That's the difference between them and us," Kim said. "We fight when necessary, but we don't abandon our principles when we do." Back on the Dolari flagship, Commander Tak gathered his senior officers. The mood was somber as they processed what they had witnessed. The humans defeated a Nox raiding party. First Officer Bin said, his voice still carrying disbelief. 6 ships against 1, and they not only survived but captured the enemy flagship. Their technology should not allow such combat effectiveness, Science Officer Mi added. Their weapons are powerful, but relatively simple. It was their tactics and their willingness to endure damage that made the difference. Commander Tak looked out at the stars, his thoughts troubled. "We have encountered a species unlike any in our records. They build ships expecting to fight. They train their bodies to ignore pain. They view exploration and combat as connected activities." "Should we be concerned?" asked First Officer Bin cautiously. Tak considered the question carefully. "I do not know, but I believe we should learn more about these humans before making any judgments. They fought fiercely, yes, but to protect both their ship and ours. They treated their enemies with unexpected mercy. Captain Kim has invited us to view their historical records," Cultural Specialist Day mentioned. "Perhaps this will help us understand them better." Commander Tak nodded slowly. Understanding is the path to wisdom. Let us learn about these strange humans and their world before we decide whether to fear them or befriend them. As the Dolari officers dispersed, Tak remained alone, watching the human ship. The Dauntless floated in space, its battle scars now joined by fresh damage, yet still functioning efficiently. Much like its crew, Tak realized. Damaged but enduring. Strange but fascinating. "These cannot be accurate," whispered Commander Tak as he reviewed the historical archives Captain Kim had shared. The data showed humanity had survived multiple extinction-level events before reaching space. Global wars that claimed millions of lives. Nuclear devastation. Climate collapse. Pandemics. Yet each time, they rebuilt and emerged stronger. "Your species achieved space travel through peaceful exploration?" asked Science Officer Sung hopefully. "Not exactly," replied Communications Officer Han. "The human liaison assigned to them. The space race began as competition between nations, accelerated by military necessity. Our first orbital weapons platforms preceded our lunar colonies. Most disturbing were reports that Earth was considered a forbidden zone by several advanced species who had attempted conquest, only to retreat with heavy casualties." "You understand now," said Officer Han. "We don't build our ships to look impressive. We build them to survive." Commander Tak's skin pulsed with waves of blue and green, the Dolari expression of deep distress. The historical records played across the large screen in the Dauntless's archive room. Images of human cities burning, mushroom clouds rising into skies, armies clashing across landscapes. The scale of violence was beyond anything in Dolari history. "Your own species did this to itself?" Cultural Specialist Day asked, her voice barely audible. Officer Han nodded. "For most of our history, humans fought humans. Different tribes, nations, ideologies. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times." The screen showed the aftermath of something called World War II. Ruined cities stretched as far as the eye could see. Then, barely a generation later according to the timeline, humans were launching primitive rockets into space. "How did you recover so quickly?" Science Officer Mi asked. "Adaptation," Officer Han replied. "Humans are good at rebuilding. Better at it than most species because we've had so much practice." The historical record continued. Climate shifts that flooded coastal cities. A pandemic that killed millions before being controlled. Through it all, human civilization stumbled but never fell. "And then you reached space," Tak said, watching as primitive human spacecraft gave way to more advanced vessels. "Yes, though not for the reasons your people did," Han explained. "The Dolari went to space out of curiosity and a desire for knowledge. Humans went to space partly out of the same drive, but also out of fear and competition." The screen showed early space stations, clearly designed with military applications, moon bases that served as both scientific outposts and strategic positions. The first faster-than-light test was conducted by a warship, not a science vessel. Han continued. The HSS Pathfinder, military vessel refitted for deep space exploration. "Like the Dauntless," Mi observed. "The Dauntless is more advanced. But yes, same basic philosophy. Every explorer is a potential defender. Every science mission is also a security mission." The historical record shifted to humanity's first encounters with alien life. The images made Tak's inner membranes contract with shock. The encounters were violent. "The Sith," Han explained as insectoid creatures appeared on screen. "They found Earth before we achieved interstellar travel. They assumed we would be easy to conquer." The screen showed damaged alien ships retreating from Earth orbit. Human forces, despite inferior technology, had somehow repelled the invaders. "The Sith didn't understand human warfare," Han continued. "They expected us to surrender after a show of superior force. When we didn't, when we kept fighting despite heavy losses, they retreated to reconsider. They never came back." The next images showed human ships venturing beyond their solar system. The ships were heavily armed despite their exploration mission parameters. After the Tith, we knew what might be waiting for us out there, Han said. We hoped for peace but prepared for war. The record showed more encounters. Some peaceful, alliance treaties, trade agreements. Others violent, space battles, boarding actions, planetary defense scenarios. 3 separate species attempted to conquer Earth, Han explained. All 3 were technologically superior to us at the time. All 3 failed, and declared Earth a forbidden zone afterward. How is this possible? Tak asked. Your technology was inferior, yes, Han completed his thought. But technology isn't everything. Humans fight differently than most species. We don't give up. We don't have a surrender instinct. And we learn very, very quickly from our enemies. The screen showed captured alien technology being reverse engineered. Human ships incorporating these advancements with surprising speed. After the 3rd attempted invasion, word spread through nearby sectors, Han said. Earth became known as a death world, a place where conquerors go to die. Yet you claim to be peaceful explorers, cultural specialist Dad noted, her voice carrying a hint of accusation. Officer Han's expression became solemn. We are. Now, after centuries of fighting ourselves and then fighting for our survival against others, humanity has learned to value peace, but we never forget what we had to do to earn that peace. The historical record showed more recent events. The formation of the Human Space Federation. First contact protocols that emphasized diplomacy and cultural exchange. Peace treaties with former enemies. Humanity has changed, Han said. But our core nature remains. We explore because we're curious. We fight when we must. We survive against all odds. Commander Tak studied the human officer carefully. Han was small by Dolari standards, physically unimpressive. Yet knowing what he now knew about human history, Tak saw something different. Resilience. Determination. A quiet strength forged through unimaginable hardship. There is one more record I think you should see, Han said, interfacing with the archive system. The screen changed to show a lush, beautiful world with multiple moons. Alien cities gleamed under twin suns. The Elthori home world, Han explained. 50 years ago, they were attacked by the Scourge, a predatory species that consumes all organic matter on a planet. The images shifted to show the same world under attack. Massive dark ships descended from orbit, cities burning. The Elthori, elegant, fragile-looking beings, fleeing in panic. The Elthori had no significant military. They were artists, philosophers, scientists. They sent distress calls to every spacefaring race within range. And humanity responded. Tak guessed. Han nodded. A human battle fleet happened to be nearby, returning from a border patrol. They diverted to the Elthori system despite being outnumbered 3-1 by the Scourge. The screen showed human ships engaging the massive Scourge vessels. Many human ships were destroyed, but they fought with a ferocity that seemed to surprise the enemy. The battle lasted for days. In the end, the human fleet was reduced to 1/3 its original size, Han said quietly. But they drove off the Scourge, saved over 80% of the Elthori population. The final images showed Elthori representatives signing a treaty with human officials. The gratitude on their alien faces needed no translation. This is why we build warships for exploration, Commander Tak, Han said. Not because we seek conflict, but because we have learned that peace must sometimes be defended. The galaxy is not always kind. Commander Tak was silent for a long time, processing everything he had seen. Finally, he spoke. Your species has known suffering beyond anything in our records. Yet you continue to reach out to the stars. It's who we are, Han replied simply. We endure. We adapt. We hope for the best while preparing for the worst. As they left the archive room, Tak turned to Han one more time. The Nox raiders we encountered. You knew exactly how to fight them. Han smiled slightly. We've encountered their type before, Different names, different species, same basic behavior. Predators who mistake kindness for weakness. And humans are not weak, Tak said. It was not a question. No, Han replied. We are many things. Curious, creative, sometimes reckless, but never weak. Remember that about us, Commander. It will help you understand everything else. The Dolari High Council received Commander Tak's report with stunned silence. These humans, spoke Counselor Min finally, they appear physically unimpressive, use outdated technology, yet demonstrate combat effectiveness beyond anything in our records. Yes, Counselor, confirmed Tak. And they offer alliance. Within a standard cycle, the formal diplomatic exchange between Earth and the Dolari Confederation was established. Other galactic powers observed with growing concern as humanity emerged onto the interstellar stage with their unlikely allies. For the Dolari, the benefits were immediate. Threats from expansionist empires suddenly receded. For humanity, access to advanced Dolari biotechnology accelerated their development. Captain Kim and Commander Tak became the foundation of a new joint fleet initiative, combining human tenacity with Dolari technology. Across the stars, one message spread: never judge a species by their appearance, especially humans. The Grand Chamber of the Dolari High Council was silent as the final images from Commander Tak's report faded from the large viewing screen. 50 council members sat motionless, their skin displaying patterns of confusion, concern, and wonder. Counselor Min was the first to recover. Commander Tak, you personally witnessed these humans defeat a Nox raiding fleet, the same Nox who have terrorized our outer colonies for generations. I did, Counselor, Tak replied, his voice steady. 6 Nox ships against 1 human vessel. The humans not only prevailed but captured the Nox flagship intact. Counselor Duck, head of the Science Ministry, leaned forward. Their technology should not allow such combat effectiveness. You report they still use nuclear fusion reactors and physical projectile weapons for some applications. Their technology is uneven, explained Science Officer Me. In some areas, they lag behind many spacefaring races. In others, particularly weapons systems and defensive capabilities, they show remarkable innovation. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices. The idea of an advanced species with such contradictions challenged Dolari understanding. Silence, called High Counselor Jun when order returned. She fixed her large eyes on Commander Tak. Your recommendation, Commander. Tak stood straighter. I recommend we accept their offer of alliance. The humans seek friendship, not conquest. They value knowledge and exploration as we do, though their path to the stars was different from ours. Different, scoffed Counselor Pak. You showed us their history. Endless warfare, self-destruction, invasion attempts. How can we trust such a species? Because they have never hidden their nature from us, Tak replied. When the Nox attacked, they protected our ships as well as their own. When they shared their history, they included their failures alongside their triumphs. The debate continued for hours. Some counselors feared the humans, others were fascinated by them, and a few saw opportunity in alliance. Finally, High Counselor Jun called for a vote. The result was narrow but clear. The Dolari Confederation would formalize relations with humanity. 3 cycles later, Captain Kim stood beside Commander Tak in the observation dome of the Luminous Harmony. They watched as a human diplomatic vessel approached the Dolari flagship. Behind it loomed the massive form of the HS Defender, Earth's newest and most powerful warship, sent as an honor guard for the human ambassadors. Your council was brave to accept alliance, Kim said. Many species fear us when they learn our history. Fear comes from ignorance, Tak replied. We have seen your strength, but also your restraint. The Nox would have destroyed our fleet if you had not intervened. That's not how humans operate, Kim said simply. We protect our friends. The diplomatic vessel docked, and soon the formal procedures began. Treaties were signed, technology exchange protocols established, and joint defense initiatives planned. News of the alliance spread quickly through known space. The reaction was immediate. The aggressive Varex Empire, which had been pressuring Dolari border colonies for years, suddenly withdrew its forces. The Mercantile Consortium, which had imposed unfair trade terms on the Dolari, now offered more balanced agreements. "They fear you," Tak observed to Captain Kim during a private moment between ceremonies. Kim smiled slightly. "They fear what they don't understand. Humanity isn't the strongest or most advanced species, but we are persistent." 6 months later, the first joint human-Dolari vessel launched from Earth's orbital shipyards. The Explorer-class ship incorporated the best of both civilizations, Dolari bioorganic hulls, and sensors with human defensive systems and engines. Captain Kim commanded the vessel, with Commander Tak as her first officer. Their first mission took them to regions previously too dangerous for Dolari explorers to visit alone. When a notorious pirate group learned of the joint expedition, they planned an ambush, expecting easy prey. They found something else entirely. "Attack pattern Theta," ordered Captain Kim calmly as enemy ships surrounded them. "Defensive systems only. Let's show them we're not worth the trouble." The ship moved with impossible grace for its size, evading enemy fire while its shields, a perfect blend of human and Dolari technology, absorbed what couldn't be dodged. After 3 unsuccessful attack runs, the pirates retreated, spreading word of the new alliance. "No shots fired," Tak noted with approval. "Your restraint has improved, Captain." Kim laughed. "Dolari influence, perhaps, though I did have weapons locked on their engine cores the entire time." Word of the successful human-Dolari partnership spread through the galaxy. Other peaceful species, long bullied by stronger neighbors, approached the alliance seeking protection and membership. Within 2 years, what began as a simple treaty between 2 unlikely allies had grown into the Galactic Cooperative, a dozen species united by mutual respect and protection. Not all reactions were positive. The Varex Empire, seeing its influence diminish, finally decided to test the alliance directly. A Varex battle fleet twice the size of anything they had previously deployed approached a joint human-Dolari research station near contested space. "Surrender the station and withdraw from this sector," demanded the Varex commander. "This is your only warning." The station's commander, a Dolari scientist named Ta, transmitted a simple response. "We decline. This station is under human Dolari protection." The Varex commander laughed. "And where is this protection? I see only a research station." The answer came as 3 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly behind the Varex fleet. They were joined moments later by 5 Dolari vessels emerging from stealth fields, a technology shared by their human allies. "This protection," replied Commander Tak calmly. The Varex fleet withdrew without firing a shot. At the 5-year celebration of the alliance, Commander Tak, now Admiral Tak of the Joint Fleet, stood with Captain Kim aboard the observation deck of Harmony Station, watching ships from a dozen allied species come and go in peaceful cooperation. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first met?" Kim asked. Tak's skin rippled with patterns of amusement. "Never. I thought you were dangerous primitives with unusual ships, and now I know you are dangerous primitives with unusual ships," Tak replied, "who make the best allies one could hope for." Kim laughed. "A fair assessment, though our primitive missile guidance systems have been adopted by half the Alliance fleet. As have our bioorganic hull materials," Tak countered. "The perfect balance." A junior officer approached them with urgent news. A distress call had been received from a non-aligned world facing natural disaster. The nearest vessel was a joint human-Dolari hospital ship. "Dispatch them immediately," Kim and Tech ordered simultaneously. As they watched the rescue ship depart, Admiral Tak reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy had expected humanity to be conquerors. Instead, they had become protectors. Together with the Dolari, they had created something neither species could have built alone. Never judge a species by appearance. Talk